All right, so thank you for tuning in to Chomping at the Bit. I'm Kyle Edwards, of course. I'm back from vacation, so kind of do a little bit of catch up here where I'm going to take a look back at week 5, which I didn't get to do before I left because the games hadn't been played yet. So I'm going to do that, see how my picks went, update, I guess the picks scoreboard to see where my record is, and then jump into week 6, make those picks, look at the games, quick little preview. Also the week 5 games, when I review my pick, I'll give you a quick little, I guess, statement or whatever of what stood out to me in that matchup, and then move to the next one. So got a lot to cover in this episode. But before I begin, of course, thank you for tuning in. If you are new here, I appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully you like what you hear and you stick around for some more episodes, or you go back and check out some of the previous ones. And then those of you returning, I mean, you already know what it's about. I guess speaking to the new people again, talk about a lot of sports. Of course, during football season, I will probably lean more football. NBA season, lean more NBA. But I still mix in other sports in between and then give you my honest opinion. You know, I don't give any opinion for the sole purpose of, I don't know. Kind of like what you see analysts on TV, you kind of already know where they're coming from because you can tell that they're biased towards whatever. I try not to do that. Now, maybe a little biased towards my home teams, but, I try to keep it real with y'all. And like I said, whatever opinion or whatever that I say, just know it's legit and how I feel. So, just want to get that out the way. But let's go ahead, take a look at week 5. Like I said, a lot to cover in this episode. So, since we're looking at week 5, this will be my picks segment, which means, you know what that sounder means. So, of course, for those of you new, I pick against the spread. I don't just pick who I think's going to win the game. I do it first, the spread. If you don't know what the spread is, every game they put a plus minus on whichever team is the favorite and the underdog. So if you see a minus whatever point, like -6 or whatever, that's the team who's favored to win. All that means is they have to win by 6 or more, that number or more. The team with the plus, underdog team, means that if they do not win the game, because obviously if they win the game, then they cover, but if they do not win the game, then they cannot lose by more than that number. If it hits right on the dot, of course, then that's a push or a draw, and it basically counts as like a tie. So, with that, if I do get a pick right, you'll hear this. And if I get a pick wrong, you'll hear this. All right, so let's go ahead. So once again, doing week 5 first, and then after that, we'll look at week 6. So the first game of week 5 was Seattle versus the Rams. I took the Seahawks plus 2.5 in this one. The Rams ended up winning 26-17, so it's a loss. The key, not really stat, but what stood out to me was, Russell Wilson got injured. He hurt his finger. I believe it was on a drop back on a deep ball. His hand hit, I want to say it was Aaron Donald. And if you didn't see the game, you may have seen the image of Russell Wilson's middle finger on his right hand was dislocated. He had to have surgery, so he is on IR. But once he went out, I mean, the game was pretty much done for. Geno Smith came in, played pretty well, but in a losing effort. And the Rams, went to 4-1. And, the Rams, we already know, based off how the season's gone so far, they're a pretty good team. So, down Russell Wilson would have been tough. Seahawks lose. Go to the next game. And next game, Jets, Falcons. So I took the Falcons minus the 2.5 in this one. And the Falcons ended up winning 27-20. Win. The key to this one was Kyle Pitts finally had a breakout game. Got his first touchdown of the year. And the Falcons needed every bit of it as they, like I said, won 27-20. Probably a little closer than Falcon fans would have wanted. I mean, a touchdown win is a decent margin. But yeah, so Kyle Pitts had a great day. We'll have to see if he can build upon that. Find the end zone maybe on a more regular basis now. And, hopefully the Falcons, after a slow start, can maybe turn their season around a little bit. The Jets are the Jets. It's a rebuilding year, so nothing much to say there. Next game, Bengals-Packers. I took the Bengals +3, and the Packers won 25-22. So, in the instance, like I was saying when I was introducing the segment, this is a situation where the Packers were a 3-point favorite. They won by 3, so it's a push. I don't really have a sounder for that, so it's actually a draw. It's first tie for me for the year. The key from this one was, it was a game that was, how should I put this? It was a game that, we will pay too much attention to the kickers because it was ugly for them in this game. I believe between the Packers and the Bengals, they missed 5 field goals in this game. I think Crosby missed 3 in a row, and ultimately that led to the game going in overtime, where Crosby was able to redeem himself, make a game-winning field goal. But yeah, for a matchup of quarterbacks, Burrow and Rodgers, which was highly anticipated, was fun to watch. For it to come down to the kickers being the bigger story, a little rough, but the Packers were able to pull it out. They moved to 4-1. Bengals dropped to 3-2. Bengals are still having a good year, but let's see if this decent start that they had, if they can carry it through the year, because I think there's still some people who are doubting how good the Bengals are. Now, I've said before, I think the Bengals offense, the offense, Burrow, Chase, Boyd, Higgins, Mixon, it's a pretty good offense. As long as they can keep Burrow upright, they're able to put points on the board. But it's just that on that day, they didn't do enough, and the Packers got a good win. Next game, Lions-Vikings. I had the Lions at +10, and the Vikings won 19-17. That's one for me. They only won by 2. The key to this game, Vikings had a comeback win. And then once again, the Lions lose a tough game late. And after the game, Dan Campbell, the head coach, got emotional talking about the team. They dropped to 0-5. And he's basically saying that, the team's playing hard. And he really thought they were going to get this win. But, he's just kind of feeling down on the team. Well, for the team. Because this was the second week in a row that they lost on, I think it was deep field goals. Because it was last week they lost, the week before, they lost to the Ravens on that Tucker kick. Which was, what was that, like 66 yards? And then this week, had the lead late, only for Cousins and the Vikings to drive down, get in the field goal range, and win it, beat them on a field goal again. So like I said, Lions drop 0-5. Vikings improve to 2-3. Next game, Broncos, Steelers. I took the Broncos minus the 1.5 on this one. Steelers won 27-19. That's a loss. Let's see. What do we say about this one? Roethlisberger threw 2 touchdowns. Probably had his best game of the year. And they were able to knock off a team in Denver that plays pretty good defense. Offensively, they are... they're not world beaters on offense, but they're pretty steady offensively. And for the Steelers to get this win, to improve to 2-3, maybe it's a game that we look back at the end of the year and realize that this may have been the turning point in their season. If they had dropped to 1-4, I don't know what would have happened out in Pittsburgh. But I'm sure a lot of those, murmurs about Roethlisberger would have just gotten louder. And yeah, the season could have gone a different way. But now at 2-3, maybe Pittsburgh can figure out a winning formula here going forward. Obviously, the days of relying on Roethlisberger to make up for deficiencies on the offense and pull out wins for them, those days are over. So it probably has to become an offense where Najee Harris is the focal point, and you're using Roethlisberger to kind of take pressure off of Harris, and hopefully if Harris is efficient enough, then Roethlisberger's in situations where he's throwing passes on defenses that are a little lax or maybe are playing the run too much, and he can make some plays over the top. But moving along with the Buccaneers and the Dolphins next. I took the Buccaneers minus 10 in this one. Once again, those double-digit lines always make me hesitate, but we're talking about the Bucs here, so I felt comfortable doing it. And the Bucs won 45-17 to win. The key here, Brady threw 5 touchdown passes at the age of 44. He still looks great. Antonio Brown, who's 33, that's kind of an advanced stage for a wide receiver, had a good day as well. The Bucs improved to 4-1. Dolphins are now 1-4. There was a lot of, anticipation behind the Dolphins possibly having a good year this year, but just hasn't happened so far early in the year. Once again, especially with the extra game this year, 1-4 start isn't ideal, but there's still plenty of time left to come back from that. And for the Bucs, it was a game that they were supposed to win. They got the win. They're now 4-1, and the moment are keeping pace with Arizona, who's the only undefeated team. But the Bucs want to stay in a situation where they could maybe get the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. All right, moving on to the next game, we have the Saints, Washington. I took Washington here plus 2.5. The Saints won 33-22, so it's a loss. And the key here, Jameis Winston had 4 touchdowns. And once again, this Washington defense, which coming into the year, a lot of people thought could have been the best defense in the league, had another week where they did not show up at all. And now there's going to be some real questions about if the Washington defense may be the most disappointing unit in the NFL so far. You know, they have that what's supposed to be great defensive line, and we thought with another year for Chase Young and all that kind of stuff, the defense was ready to take off. And with the limitations offensively, without like a real stud quarterback, the winning formula for Washington this year was going to be to rely on that defense, maybe cause some turnovers, some 3-and-outs, which lead to short fields for the offense, so they're not being asked to put together a drive of like 75, 80 yards on a regular basis. And it just hasn't happened so far. But once again, like I said, with Miami and any other team that's struggling so far, only 5 games in, which means you have 12 left. There's still time to figure it out. The Washington staff is going to have their hands full trying to figure out what's wrong with the defense and how to fix it. But if they can't, then Washington's season's going to go pretty much nowhere by the end of the year. But if they can figure out the missing formula and get that righted, then maybe Washington is a team that can make a run at the division. So Saints now 3-2. Washington falls to 2-3. Next game, Eagles, Panthers. So I took the Panthers -3 on this one. And the Eagles won 21-18. That's a loss. What stood out in this one? Jalen Hurts got 2 touchdowns with his legs. And Carolina we just learned, was it yesterday or so, that Christian McCaffrey has been put on IR. So he's going to be out for some weeks. And might be time to start having that conversation about McCaffrey and whether he'll actually be able to get through a full season injury-free. Because so far what we've seen is he keeps having these, I believe, like lower body injuries or his hamstrings or whatever. I think he had ankles one year. I don't know if we'll ever get to see the full potential of what McCaffrey could have been, especially after that rookie year where we saw him being a threat in the running game and in the passing game. But if he can't stay on the field, then his effectiveness is clearly going to go by the wayside. But Panthers fall to 3-2. Eagles improve to 2-3. Panthers now will have to rely on Chuba Hubbard, the rookie out of Oklahoma State, to now become the primary running back. Try to fill some of the shoes of Christian McCaffrey. All they'll need Hubbard to do is be good enough to take pressure off of Darnold. But 18 points is not going to get it done in today's NFL. So now with Hubbard getting first team snaps in practice, he can maybe work through the rookie wall that comes with being a first-year player and maybe hit the ground running a little bit. because the Panthers, they don't want to waste the good start of the season and end up falling off because of McCaffrey's injury. Yeah. Let's go to the next game. Titans-Jaguars. This one, I took the Titans minus the 4.5. Titans won 37-19, so that's a win. The key here is Jacksonville drops to 0-5. And we already know about the off-the-field stuff with Urban Meyer. Well, if they continue to lose like this, then his seat's just going to continue to get hot and hot and hot to the point it becomes boiling. And then at that point, the Jaguars are going to have to make a decision on, do you let Meyer, I guess, play out the year and kind of see what happens? Or, as weird as this may sound for Urban Meyer's first year there, and the cachet that Meyer brings with him, do the Jaguars just at some point cut ties with him? And I mean, it's already a lost season pretty much. Kind of just go back to the drawing board and getting the right coach down there. Especially with Trevor Lawrence there. They're expecting him to be there for the next, 5 years on a rookie deal, but, the next 10, 15 years. And if you're going to have him there that long, you're going to need a guy there that's going to help him win games. The Titans improved to 3-2, and basically Derrick Henry had 3 touchdowns, so Derrick Henry has a big game. The Titans win. If he doesn't, good chance the Titans won't. That's probably as simple as I can put it for them. Next game, Patriots, Texans. I took my Patriots minus 8. And the Patriots did win 25-22, but it's a loss because they only won by 3. Key takeaway from this, Mac Jones got his first come-from-behind win and continues to be efficient with the football, continues to complete more than 70% of his passes. Game was not looking good early on because it looked like the Texans were going to get the upset and kind of really send this Patriots team spiraling. But because they would have fallen to 1-4, but getting the win to go to 2-3, good bounce back from the week before. And, now they can prepare for the Cowboys next, try to get to 3-3, get back to 500, while continuing to see Mac Jones grow. And like I said, Patriots fan that I am, I've been paying close attention to Mac Jones. This could be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think what we've seen from Mac Jones, he's clearly the furthest along in development among the 5 quarterbacks that won the first round. He's the most, like I said, pro-ready, because what we're seeing him do within the Patriots offense is, I think, more advanced than any other of the 5 quarterbacks, because I know they keep making the comparisons from Mac Jones to Tom Brady, but this offense that Mac Jones is running is very similar to an offense that Brady would have ran in New England probably earlier in his career, in the middle of his career in New England. And Mac Jones is doing this 5 games in. He gets to the line, he makes the play call. He's willing to check out of the play based off of the defense. He makes quick decisions. For the most part, they're right. Like I said, completing 70% of his passes. He does have a few interceptions this year, but some of them have been off deflections and that kind of stuff. But that's going to happen. But from what I've seen these first 5 games, he's clearly quarterback of the future, and I'm not selling on the Patriots this year just yet. I know some people have jumped off after going 2-3, but I think with Mac Jones' growth, there's hope for a turnaround this year, and I still think they can be a playoff team. Next game, Bears-Raiders. I took the Raiders minus 5.5. The Bears won this game 20-9. It's a loss. And then over the past few days, we've heard the story about John Gruden, who ultimately stepped down as head coach. So I guess we could see. Of course, we didn't know about that while this game happened, but maybe that led to them looking so flat in this game. The Bears defense, got to give them some credit, but clearly the Raiders locker room, wasn't completely focused here. Like I said, John Gruden had a lot going on that just came to a head over this past weekend, and I don't know. Maybe there's some correlation there. Maybe not. Maybe it was just the Raiders maybe crashing back to normal for them. Because there was a lot of hype behind them through the first 4 games. But after this one, and with the Gruden story on the back end of that, I think some of that's going to be quieted, at least for a few weeks, to see what this whole Gruden thing does to their season going forward. And for the Bears, Justin Fields, I believe he threw his first touchdown pass, so congratulations to him. The Bears are 3-2. Clearly, going with Fields was the right decision. Matt Nagy kind of dragged his feet on that one and was forced into it because Andy Dalton got hurt. But clearly at this point, you're going to have to stick with Fields, and Dalton's just going to have to live with it. Next game, Chargers-Browns. I took the Chargers minus the 2.5 here. The Chargers won 47-42. So that's the key here. Ho-hum, Justin Herbert had another great day. And it's showing that he might be. You have your Patrick Mahomes group, you have your Lamar Jackson group, but I think I've said this for a few weeks now. I'm definitely in on Herbert. I think he could be the best young quarterback in the league. I know that's definitely up for debate, but because like I said, there's Josh Allen as well. Didn't mention him, but I don't know. Herbert continues to make plays, continues to put up big numbers, and this Chargers team is now 4-1. And in that division with Kansas City and Mahomes, Denver, just that defense, Von Miller, and the Raiders, where, like I said, let's see what happens with them. But you have Derek Carr in that offense with Darren Waller. Might start looking at it as maybe the Chargers are the best team in that division. And for the Browns, it was a tough loss. They dropped to 3-2. There's definitely a lot they can build off of in this one. I know Mayfield's dealing with the labrum injury to his non-throwing shoulder, but I'm sure that's affecting him a little bit. But yeah, 2 good teams going up against each other. Just that the Chargers on this day got the better of the Browns, and like I said, improved to 4-1. Next game, Cowboys-Giants. I took the Cowboys in this one. Were they -7? Yeah, Cowboys -7. And the Cowboys beat the Giants 44-20. That's a win. Key takeaway, Prescott and the Cowboys have shown, at least in the first 5 games, that they're a good team offensively. Like I said, you got Prescott, Amari Cooper, the two-headed monster of Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard in the backfield. And with the NFC East the way it is, maybe the Cowboys run away with it this year. I mean, it's been said before, only to come down to the end of the year and the Cowboys be in a fight in the division. I just think this year it's trending to the Cowboys winning that division easily. I mean, they're the best quarterback in the division, probably the best offensive weapons in the division, and they might have the best defense in the division. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But, I mean, only 5 games in, I don't see a reason to not pick the Cowboys to win that division. Giants fall to 1-4. I mean, Giants have been, I guess, somewhat disappointing this year. I didn't think they were going to be in for another long season. I mean, in this game, they lost Barkley to an injury. They lost Daniel Jones to an injury around the goal line. I'm sure some of you saw the video. I think what I heard was he supposedly changed the play at the line to that bootleg with him to try to run it in. I don't know. It just seemed like a weird play. I feel like some of the players weren't really sure about it, but Jones ran to his left, thought he had an angle to the corner of the end zone, ultimately got tackled by a couple of Cowboys, had his head slammed into the turf, and he got up a little woozy, stumbled around a little bit. So, obviously he's in concussion protocol. Yeah, hopefully Daniel Jones can play this week. If not, it's going to be, who's their backup? Was it Mike Glennon? So, yeah, Cowboys improved to 4-1. Got to win. They had to win, supposed to win. So I'm not going to lose it too much over that one. But the next game, Cardinals, 49ers. So I took the Cardinals -5, and the Cardinals won 17-10. So Cardinals remain the only undefeated team in the league. Though the 49ers fall to 2-3, and 49ers have some injury issues and all that. Hey, it's a win. A win is a win. Maybe not the most dominating win, which I'm sure the Cardinals would have loved, but they got a win against the team they were supposed to beat. And it's the name of the game at this point. So as an undefeated team, a lot of teams are going to, bring their A game against you to try to give you that first loss. And they're going to try to hold off the Bucks and teams like that who are just a game behind them, because clearly the Cardinals would love to get the number 1 seed in the NFC and have everything run through Arizona onto a maybe Super Bowl berth, because the Cardinals definitely have what it takes to be a Super Bowl representative this year. Let's see. So 2 games left. We got Bills, Chiefs. And I took the Bills +3 in this one. Bills won 38-20. Key takeaway. Josh Allen, the Bills got a little bit of revenge over the Chiefs from their matchup in the playoffs last year. What else? The Chiefs, yeah. It's kind of a big story. What exactly is going on with them? So, not really sure there's anything wrong with them per se, but I mean, yes, Mahomes has had some turnover issues this year, but I just think that what's going on is maybe defenses or whatever are being more aggressive with them, trying to get him off his game and his focus and all that. And yeah, the Chiefs have just struggled early in the year. 2-3. I don't think anybody saw them being 2-3 after 5 games. I was hearing talk before the season started about Chiefs, being a team that can run the table and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, obviously that's out the window. But I mean, there's too much talent on that team for them to really struggle. But definitely would be interesting to watch if it did happen, what kind of reaction there would be. But moving on to the final game for Week 5, and it was the Colts Ravens. I took Ravens -7 in this matchup. Ravens won 31-25, which loss, unfortunately, is the only one by 6. So very close to getting a win on that one, but close gets you nothing. So key takeaway from this one: so it was a game of 2 halves. Going into halftime, maybe not just 2 halves, because for like the first 3 quarters, the Colts looked like they had the game in hand. Like, they were going to pull off a nice little upset for them, get their second win, and we'll see. We'd have to see what was going to happen. But something happened, and Lamar and that Ravens team flipped the switch. It was fascinating to watch because, like I said, I thought into the third quarter that the Colts were going to get it done. And, I guess get their second win of the year. Maybe get Carson Wentz some confidence, which is something I think he's probably lacking a little bit of. Especially, he went from being an MVP candidate to kind of becoming an injury-prone quarterback. And now with the change of scenery in Indy, he's kind of become a afterthought. So yeah, they didn't get the win. Maybe the Colts can build off of this one. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson had a good game. But for them, we're just going to see what it looks like come playoff time. What he does. Will he revert back to trying to make plays with his legs because he's more comfortable with that? I mean, once again, plenty of season left, so we'll have to see. But yeah, Ravens improved to 4-1. Colts dropped to 1-4. And that is it for Week 5. So with all that, you tally it up. What do you get? I went 8-7-1 that in Week 5. I was 32-32. Sorry, coming into the week. So that means I am now 40-39-1. And as a little side thing, I've been trying to keep track of how I do when I pick underdogs. I was 11-7. And now, let's see. Last week I went I went 2-1 picking underdogs, so that means I'm 13-9-1 picking underdogs. But let's go ahead, get into Week 6 now. Like I said, there's going to be a lot in this episode. So, same thing. Picking against the spread. First week of bye teams. So it's not a full 16-game slate. There's 4 teams on a bye. So it's a 14-game week for us. And let's see what we do. So, first game, another game in London. Was it a 9:30 or 10 o'clock kick Eastern time? We've got Jaguars, Dolphins. I'm taking the Jags here +3. I just think there's some uncertainty with the Dolphins in that Tua's coming back for this game, I believe. I think there's going to be a little bit of rust in his game. Maybe the Jaguars can take advantage of that with Trevor Lawrence and then that offense, Jerome Robinson. Maybe this is a game where they can, I guess we'll learn from this game. If the Jaguars get blown out, then they clearly quit on Urban Meyer. If they get the win, maybe the relationship with Urban Meyer can be, there can be some hope for mending it all. And back up real quick, because we did hear from, was it Shad Khan, the owner down there, that, Urban Meyer has to build trust back and all that kind of stuff. Quickest way to do that, get some wins. Yeah, Jaguars +3. Next game is Bears-Packers. I'm taking the Bears here +6. I know the Packers are 4-1. I think it's kind of a flawed 4-1. I would not be surprised that Bears defense, which is coming off a good week against the Raiders where they held them to 9. Not seeing the hold Rodgers and Devontae Adams and them to 9 points, but I do think that they can frustrate them offensively. And when the Bears have the ball, I think Justin Fields is clearly getting more comfortable in the system. So I'm expecting to see an improvement in his game. And I think if that were to happen, then they can definitely pull the upset, especially against against the spread, with it being 6. I don't know about that. I would not be surprised if the Packers do win this game, it being like a late field goal from Mason Crosby. But I think the Bears could be trending slightly upward. And of course, that's going to be dependent upon Fields' development in that system during practices and all that, what his mentality becomes. Next game, Bengals, Lions. I'm taking the Bengals here minus the 3.5. I mean, at this point, it's getting a little sad in Detroit. Because, like I said, they've played really hard. I would love to see them get a win at some point this year. They deserve that at least. Not expecting it to happen this week. As I've said, I like Burrow and Chase, that connection there, with Mixon being able to play off of that, because he's a very effective runner. I just think it's going to be too much for the Lions in this one. And let's see if it's an issue where the Lions play teams tough and continue to lose. When does that start creeping into their heads, and maybe they truly struggle? I don't know. Like I said, I like Joe Burrow more than Jared Goff, and I like the Bengals' weapons more than the Lions. So I think it'll be a bounce-back game for the Bengals here. Next game is Texans-Colts. I'm taking the Texans +10. I believe that, what's his name, Davis Mills, the quarterback in Houston now, what I think we've seen is that Houston isn't necessarily quitting, and they have enough there to make these games competitive. Plus, I'm not comfortable, taking the Colts minus 10. I get it. The Colts are supposed to be good, but they're not. So I just don't see them winning by more than 10. So I'll take the Texans with the cover. Next game, Rams Giants. I'm taking the Rams minus 8 here. I mean, the Giants are all over the place. They just can't seem to get out of their own way. We'll have to see what Barkley and Daniel Jones, what happens there. Did the both play? Did neither of them play? Will one try to play? I don't know. But obviously, if we do hear about Jones and what's his name, Barkley, good lord. Which the same thing I said about McCaffrey, probably gonna start saying the same things about Saquon Barkley. Will it just be that his career is plagued with injuries? He'll kind of show certain flashes of brilliance for a few weeks, but never over a full season. It's kind of looking like that right now. But I'll just take the Rams. More talented team. I mean, 8 points does leave it open for them to, win by, have a touchdown lead, kind of sit on the ball late, and then the Giants get a backdoor cover. But I'm taking the Rams. Next game is Chiefs versus the football team. Taking the Chiefs minus 6.5. I just think I feel like the Chiefs are due for a week where they put up like 40 or something. And Washington struggles defensively. Not saying they'll put that much up this week, but wouldn't be surprised if that was a double-digit game. So because of that, give me the Chiefs minus a 6.5. Next game, Panthers, Vikings. I'm taking the Panthers plus 2.5. This one's a complete crapshoot. I just think the Chiefs are going to bounce. Not the Chiefs, good lord. I actually went back. Panthers, Vikings, sorry about that. But I think Sam Darnold, Hubbard, I think they play better this week. And like I said, I don't really know what the Vikings are yet. Of all the teams in the league, Vikings may be the team that I've probably watched the least of. Nothing against them, because I don't really feel one way or the other with Kirk Cousins. Like, I see what Minnesota saw in him, but I just think he is what he is. Average quarterback, middle tier. It's meh. And Carolina, isn't too far behind them, but I don't know. I just got a feeling that Darnold finds a way to get it done. Maybe a late game situation, and score, take the lead, put it back into Kirk Cousins' hands late in the game, and maybe that's what it comes down to. But I'm gonna go Carolina here plus 2.5. Next game, Chargers, Ravens. Could be game of the week. I'm going with the Chargers plus 2.5. You just heard me talking about Herbert. Do you really think I was going to pick against him here? This will be tough. Lamar seems to be playing really well right now. Herbert, same thing. Maybe it comes down to which defense do I trust more. Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers here. I guess it'd be a minor upset with the Chargers being plus 2.5, but it wouldn't surprise me either way. But I'm gonna go Chargers plus 2.5. Could be a shootout. I don't know. Baltimore doesn't get in too many shootouts this year, but I don't know. I have a weird feeling about that game. But I'm taking the Chargers anyway. Next game, Cardinals-Browns. Taking the Cardinals plus 3.5. Kind of surprised seeing that the Browns were favorited in this one, especially with it being the Cardinals that they're going up against. Cardinals have found a way to win so far this year. With Mayfield being compromised with his left shoulder, going up against the pass rusher Chandler Jones. I mean, could be tough. Could be tough. Yeah, Cardinals plus 3.5. I think for a second there I was trying to think about it, see if I wanted to change it, but no. Keep it that way. I'll take Kyler Murray over Baker Mayfield because of that. Give me Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. All right, next game, Raiders-Broncos. I'm taking the Raiders plus 4 only because the Broncos don't score a lot of points, and we'll see. We'll see how the Raiders play. It's going to be first opportunity since the John Gruden incident to, I guess, put their best foot forward for the interim coach. We'll just see. We'll see how inspired they are. But I think if they come out and they, I guess, rally behind all this going on, then I think the plus 4 is a shoo-in here. Next game, Patriots-Cowboys. Taking the Patriots plus 3.5. I've been hearing a lot of people expecting the Cowboys to, I don't know, borderline blow out the Patriots. Only because the Cowboys can come at defenses multifaceted between Prescott's arm, Elliott Pollard's legs, blah, 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 CeeDee Lamb, those kind of guys on the outside, Amari Cooper. But the one thing that we know is first 3-4 weeks, Belichick's really evaluating how well the team is, what he can rely on, what he still has questions about. I think the Patriots defense will be able to slow down the Cowboys offensive attack. And I actually expect Mac Jones to have a pretty good day. Cowboys defense is meh. There were definitely plays to be had offensively for Mac Jones. So hopefully he can pick him out quickly like he's done so far. Make the right play. Maybe make some plays over the top. Haven't seen it too much. But should be a very entertaining game. I'm expecting back and forth. And yeah, Patriots plus 3.5. Next game, Seahawks, Steelers. So this one at first I went Steelers minus 5. But after thinking about it for a couple minutes, switched it to the Seahawks plus 5. I think Geno Smith can build upon what he did in relief of Russell Wilson and, make some plays, score some points, which I guess might be the upset more than anything with Geno Smith leading that offense instead of Russell Wilson, that I think Geno Smith will be able to put up some points with the offense. I mean, he's been around long enough, so he's not the same guy from his early years in with the Jets where he kind of looked like a bust. But I think this system suits his abilities, and I'm sure Pete Carroll and those guys will have situations to put him in to help him succeed. And plus the Steelers, I'm still not sold on them. Not sold on Big Ben. So, yeah. +5 sounds way more than tempting. I definitely feel like the Seahawks will pull off the upset here. All right, final game for week 6. Bills-Titans. I'm taking the Bills minus the 5.5. Titans are too up and down for me. I'm sure the Bills' focus will be on Derrick Henry. Jeez. I just talked about him earlier in the episode. Just name slipped my mind for a second there. But I think Bills defensively will key in on Derrick Henry, force Tannehill to try to beat them with his arm. I don't think he can do it. I think Derrick Henry, even with the attention on him, will still be able to be somewhat productive. But I just think the Bills are rolling right now, and I don't think the Titans have enough firepower to match them. So, Bills minus 5.5. Real quickly, the teams on a bye this week are the Falcons, Saints, Niners, and the Jets. Yeah. Like I said, it was going to be a lot, and it was a lot. So, yeah. We'll have to see. So, once again, for you new listeners, around probably like Wednesday or so, I'll do an episode where I'll review my picks, see how well I did. Check the big board, which I'm now, like I said, 40, 39-1. The goal is still the same, 60% by the end of the year. So I'm a game over 500. Hey, there are worse places to be. But yeah, I think it's a good place to end this episode. So with that, appreciate you tuning in. Would set up the next couple episodes, but I'm not really sure what I want to talk about. I know at some point we'll talk college football. Another wild weekend in college football, so talk about some of that, some of what I've seen so far. Talk about playoff expansion, because it's definitely the right thing to talk about. We have the NHL season get started. I'll probably let the Bruins play a few more games before I talk about them. Like I said, with hockey, I pretty much focus on Bruins, so that's what I'll talk. Now I'll talk about them. WNBA finals could be over, so I may talk a little bit about that. Could talk U.S. men's national team. They just got through another. I don't know how they're like. What they're kind of doing is they play. How's it go? They're doing kind of like 3-game intervals to get through World Cup qualifying. So I guess the second 3-game little pool's going on right now. So kind of talk about some of the things I've seen with this men's national team, what I like, what I see, and what I don't. So yeah, I don't know. We'll just see how the week goes. But thanks again. Be safe out there. God bless. And I'll catch you on the next episode. All right, I'm out.